a lot of people, that places a lot of buy pressure on the dollar because a lot of people would want to park their money and lend to the US government to receive a higher rate of return. It's all but a question of supply and demand. You have a larger demand, more buyers, a larger demand, bring prices up. Hey guys, by the time of this recording, the US dollar up against the peso is around 57 pesos per dollar, and this is one of the highest that we've seen over the past decade. If you look at it from a 10-year horizon, you're seeing it in a very strong uptrend. If you stretch it even further from a longer time horizon, it's approaching a multi-year resistance. Nonetheless, the peso has weakened versus the dollar, or to put it into context, it's really the dollar that's strengthening against the peso. And I want to say this, that this is something that's not just happening in the Philippines. If you look at the dollar up against other currencies, even up against the euro, we have seen the dollar appreciate up against a lot of the currencies around the world. Allow me to explain it a bit, to give you a bit of information on why this is happening, to allow you to have informed decisions on how you want to go about your money, your investments, and so that you're not just doing things out of emotion or out of what everyone is doing, but you get to decide based on the information and the merits of it as well. And also, what could you actually do to come out on this on top? Please do note that price movements like this, there will always be winners and there will always be losers. As investors, your goal is to focus on which are the winners and deploy capital against that, or figure out which are the losers and try to stay away from them while we are in an era where the dollar is higher. Now, that being said, I want to say a couple of things on why I believe the dollar is appreciating. Up against all currencies around the world, regardless of how inflated the dollar is, how much massive printing they've created over the past few years, it's still a safe haven up against all of the other currencies out there. And please do note that there's a lot of uncertainty going on about recessions. There's a lot of talk about a collapse in China. The Russia and Ukraine conflict is still ongoing, and every time that there's uncertainty, as what I've mentioned in the previous videos that I've created, people would want to flock into something that's secure, into something that's stable, into something that has been tried and tested. And over the past decades, that has been the US dollar. And let's not predict, forecast, or speculate on how it will go. Let's see how the market is reacting. And the market is reacting. The fact that the US dollar is going up, it means that a lot of demand has shifted to the dollar. It's the most stable fiat currency in planet Earth right now. Number two is this. I've talked about the US government, the US Fed increasing interest rates. Every time they increase interest rates, it also places a demand on the currency because it now incentivizes people, funds, institutions to put in more money into the US dollar and lend to the US government because they now have a possibility of a higher rate of return as compared to where it was just a few months back, where lending to the US government would have been very close to zero. And if you're talking about millions or even billions of dollars, an increase in interest rates give people who want to receive cash flow, passive income that's relatively safe. Bonds issued by the US is one of the safest forms of government debt up against other countries around the world as well. So when you have something that's relatively risk-free, issued by the largest economy in the planet, and they're giving you a higher rate of return versus a couple of years back where it was zero, a lot of people, that places a lot of buy pressure on the dollar because a lot of people would want to park their money and lend to the US government to receive a higher rate of return. It's all but a question of supply and demand. You have a larger demand, more buyers, a larger demand, bring prices up, and that's what we're actually seeing right now. However, though, I just want to mention this also. With that happening, it also has a ripple effect on inflation, especially for us watching this that are net importers of oil. Please do note that the higher the dollar is and then you import using the dollar, the cost to be able to import oil becomes more expensive, and it would impact almost every other industry here in the country. Or if you're watching this and you're not from the Philippines and your country's a net importer of oil as well, it will highly impact you and it will further fuel inflation that's already high, brought about different issues and aspects that have happened over the past few months. Please do note that this is cyclical. Just around 2 years ago, the US dollar was less than 50. Fast forward to where we are right now, it's 57. At some point, it was relatively low, but it won't stay low forever. In the same way, also, where the dollar is right now, it's relatively at a higher range, but it also won't stay high forever as well. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions from people that own a lot of dollars. Should they be actually swapping their dollars right now to peso? The answer to that is it depends on you. If you use dollars more, then it would be prudent to hold your dollars, especially if you're transacting using dollars. The fundamental reason also why people are moving to the dollars is because they see it as a sense of stability, a currency that's stable. So if you want to have a sense of stability also with the assets that you have, aka the cash that you have, then it's still prudent to hold on to the dollar, even though if you swap it back to peso, you'll actually earn more. If you need the money and you need to use it for certain purposes, for your business, for household expenses, and no one knows how high it will go, no one has a crystal ball. I've been doing investing for more than a decade now, and really no one can pinpoint exactly how prices would go on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute, week-by-week, month-by-month basis. No one has that. So if you need the money, even if there's still a possibility that it goes higher, then you swap it. It will always go back to what your situation is. It will always go back to what your reason and your rationale is. If you're the type of person also who bought it at 48 and you were in it to trade, you could put markers also similar to how we do it in crypto and stocks, that you could actually take profits at certain points once it hits certain resistance levels, or once you see portions of weakness that it's now starting to reverse as well. And as what I've mentioned at the start of the video, there's a multi-year resistance also close to where it is right now as well. Our goal as investors to position on the ones that will actually make more. If you look at it, top of mind, those that are importing right now, automatic will be the most hit, primarily because it costs more for them to be able to buy the same item, even if that item did not increase in price, just primarily because the dollar is higher. Industry sectors that rely a lot on the dollar will feel the blunt of it. Companies that are highly connected to oil prices will also feel the blunt of it. Airline companies will be affected because a large chunk also of their expenses are connected to oil. People who travel and commute a lot will be affected by it because to gas up, they would have to actually spend more. That's all of us also. That's why majority will be hit when the dollar is higher, primarily because oil will be higher. The cost to purchase oil will be higher as well. Also, in a way, people will travel because when you travel and you don't have dollars and you have peso, for you to be able to move and swap it and spend in foreign countries, you would actually need to use your dollar. And when you start using your dollar, it becomes more expensive and becomes more painful for you as well. Now, who are the winners? If I mention that those who are importing are losing out, then the flip side of that are those who are exporting, because they get to sell the same piece and they actually get to earn more. So anyone who's actually earning off the dollar, regardless if they're exporting or they have a service that allows them to be able to earn in dollars, them getting the same amount of dollars will be stretched even further as they bring it back in the Philippines. So exporters are one, but highly connected as what I've mentioned to all of these services that earn in dollar, the BPO industry, or anything that's highly connected to outsourcing, remote work that earn in dollars, because when they bring it back here, they will actually earn more. Connected to that also are remittances. Please do note this, that 10% of the population is outside the Philippines and they remit that money back. Now, suddenly, in just 2 years, they've seen the value of the US dollar increase from 48 to 57. Now, either they save more, that they get to send lesser and they get to keep more, and they get to enjoy their money wherever they are in the world, or they get to send more in the Philippines and their relatives here, their family here also have more spending power. So there will be a ripple effect also in that if there will be more people who are earning off of dollars, that they actually would be triggered also to spend more. And as they spend more also, the wheels of our consumption-driven economy would also turn. Dollar is high against the peso, but it's not the end of the world, especially for investors, especially for people who are entrepreneurial, who know how to spot opportunities. Because at the end of the day, it's those who know how to identify what's happening and ride it based on sound information and judgment will win. Similar to the stock market, the Forex market, and the crypto market, the currency market is cyclical. It can go up continually, but it also won't stay up forever. Similar to what I've been mentioning, when the stock market is down, it's what you do when it's down that will matter the most. In the same way also for the US dollar, it's what you do when it's up that will also matter the most as well. I hope you guys got a lot. If you stayed up until the end, like, share, subscribe, smash the bell so you get updated every time I come up with new content like this. And if you want to know more about me and the courses that I have, the books that I've written 5 books about investing and the stock market. Links are down below as well. And check out my other videos that I created to give you insight on how you can win as we close this 2022. So that's it for now. Marvingermo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.